Welcome to the Alleluia Podcast, bringing you redemptive analogies each week. Everything from Disney to Naruto. We're here to present the gospel in a more animated way. Get ready to raise a hallelujah. It's time for Alleluia.
Hey, you're locked into another episode of the Uncut podcast. My name is Josh, and it's another fine day here in Tennessee. And we've actually kind of changed up our studio. If you've been keeping up with our social media, we have painted, we've put up some decor. We're using ring lights as the main source of lighting. We will incorporate a couple other lights, just trying to nail down angles and power source for those. But without further ado, my wife, Rebecca.
Hey guys, good to see you again. This is not our first episode this year, is it?
No. It's
That's
our.
Right.
It's our second, because we had Lisa Michelle Zega last week, and everything was like still white walls and everything.
Yeah, I knew that it wasn't exactly like we were wanting it to be, but now we've mostly got it done, all of the background. We're still not completely finished, but I'm excited to see where this goes. Gotta step it up.
Good on stepping up. Speaking of stepping up, we're going to be stepping into the episode for today. And today's episode is All Dogs Go to Heaven 2. Now, we've done sequels before, and everybody's like, well, why don't you just do the original? Well, plan to, but we chose this one particularly for the topic today, just because we felt it was more fitting, it dealt more and depicted more for today's topic. And today's topic is all about the temporal versus the eternal.
Yeah, so we're looking at heaven is really the main focus. What does heaven look like? What does the earthly look like? I'm excited to talk about it.
Absolutely. And we all have seen different depictions of heaven through paintings and movies, and use your imagination when you read that in books. But this one, it gives the whole like clouds, and it's very bright, very fun. Now, for those of you who don't know, All Dogs Go to Heaven 2 is the sequel to the original All Dogs Go to Heaven, and this is a Don Bluth works. Love that creator. He's done a lot of good and somewhat unnoticed gems.
What all has he done? He did Thumbelina, right?
He did Thumbelina.
And what are some other ones?
I think Troll in Central Park, which I'm not too crazy about, but he did that one. And of course, All Dogs Go to Heaven. And All Dogs Go to Heaven 2 came out, I want to say, it's like 5 or 10 years after the original. I know it was like late 90s or early 2000s, because All Dogs Go to Heaven, I think, was like early 90s. Now, with All Dogs Go to Heaven 2, we have our main characters, Charlie Barken, Carface Carruthers, H.H. Shefford.
Honestly, I didn't realize that Charlie Barken was like a dog barking, only said in like a southern way, barkin'.
Yeah.
Carface Carruthers, I don't really understand. Itcherson? Itcheford. That makes a lot of sense because he itches all the time. But
not when he gets into heaven. When he gets...
That's right.
He's like, I'm not itchy. Well, you sure look like, no, for the first time, I don't need to scratch. So, yeah, you're in heaven. Please figure to the other place. Now, Rebecca, you had not seen this before when we watched it, had you?
I had not. No, this was the very first time seeing this. Now, obviously, I had seen the original All Dogs Go to Heaven, but I never seen the second one, because I remember you were trying to tell me about like what it was about. Oh, no, this one's with the boy that he tries to help. And I was like, I do not remember that one. And turns out, yeah, no, I had never seen this.
Well, what were your general thoughts?
Okay. Was it entertaining? Yeah, it was entertaining. It was a nice, hour sit down and watching. Like, I was entertained. Would I go back and watch it again? Probably not. It was just okay. And for me, honestly, that's a lot of the Don Bluth films. Like, yeah, it's entertaining, but it's not Disney, you know?
I
It's
mean, the
just
what
not the
is really.
same. I mean, I would put Anastasia up there. I mean, now technically she's a Disney princess, but I mean, when we were growing up and when it came out, that was in the 90s, right? Late 90s, I think. And I don't know, that was always great, but that was Fox at the time. So it was not a Disney film. But yeah, I don't know. I guess if this is going to sound weird, it felt a little bit like, not as dark, but it felt a little bit like The Black Cauldron, which is a Disney film, but it's not my favorite.
Black Cauldron is probably one of the darkest Disney films just because of all its
Very.
depictions, imagery, and all that. And for a 1980s film, I mean, meant for children,
Was it 80s? It must have been. Was it like, it was early 80s, right?
late 80s.
80s?
No, sorry, early 80s. With All Dogs Go to Heaven 2, when we think about Temporal versus Eternal, now for many people that are so focused on, oh, I like it here, I like being alive, and I'm not ready to, heaven sounds great, but I'm not ready to go there. And I think that's an interesting type of, commentary of the state of our world now, where people are content with living on earth and they're not, kingdom minded as I've heard pastors say. But Rebecca, there was a time, I think it was like several months ago, where you told me that, hey, I love life and everything, but I'm ready to go to heaven. Now, again, she said that. She wasn't saying, so I'm gonna die right now.
No.
No. But Rebecca, give me a little bit more detail about that, a little bit more explanation of why you said it and how you felt, why you felt it.
Yeah, I mean, up until fairly recently, it was like there's so much that I want to experience. I just want to live my life here on earth. I want to get married. I want to have kids. I want to have a good career. And I wanted to experience life in its fullness. And recently, I don't know, I think it's because I've matured in my walk with Christ. And now it's like, yeah, of course, I want to experience all of these things. We're trying to have kids. I want to have a good career. I want to follow what God has for me here in this life. But like, I'm also really content at the moment that, if God were to rapture us today, I would be okay. I wouldn't feel like I was missing out, sort of the FOMO. Honestly, I think that's something that Charlie is really focusing on. He's got FOMO really bad.
Absolutely, and that's in the song. The first song of the movie is "It's Too Heavenly Here," which sparks the question. No pun intended. But it does bring the question, like, is it too heavenly here? So in the verses of the song, it says, "It's too peaceful and paradise-like, straight and narrow." Again, referring to scripture, the path straight and narrow and few will be there, whereas the other path is wide and many will be found there. And much too nice like, endlessly sunny and clear, again giving you all the clouds and the bright colors, everything that we kind of like see in other depictions of heaven. Then we get down to this next verse where every day feels like a year. Again, we find that in scripture where it's
Time is different.
time is different because in the resting place of God, the eternal kingdom, heaven, it exists outside of time and space, is forever. Like there's no calendar, there's no like 12, 24-hour day. It's just there.
Well, time is a construct anyway.
Right.
Charlie has this idea of heaven,
Right.
that it's like, it's too nice, it's
Correct.
too pristine.
Correct, yeah.
And that's because he's longing for what he had on earth. It's the soulishness. It's our carnal desires that we wish. And everyone does it. I had someone recently tell me that they were like, if I could do it all over again, I would go sleeping around more. And I was like, really interesting. And I think that comes from a place of, I don't know, just feeling like you missed out on the world. And the truth of the matter, though, and that could be anything. That could be being around. So physical pleasure could be wanting to take drugs to feel something different. It could be lots of different things that just play into that carnal desire of making our flesh feel good, whatever that is. And that is what Charlie is struggling with here. He wants the soulishness, the worldliness more than he wants the heavenly. And as we see in the story, it ends up in the very, very end, it ends up working out for him. He gets a second chance at life. But during the story, while he's pursuing the alcohol, he's pursuing the money and the girls, it does not go so well for him because he's pursuing those things. He's been given a mission from heaven to find Gabriel's horn. Gabriel's horn's been stolen and it goes down to earth. So he's like, oh, I'll go because he wants to experience all the earthly things. And so he's so focused on experiencing the earthly that he completely neglects his job of getting that Gabriel's horn and bringing it back to heaven. The earthly over the temporal over the eternal, as
right.
our little episode is titled.
Even like later in the song where it goes into like more of the jazzier type of, chorus and
that crazy kind of feeling
right.
of playing fast and loose,
yes,
gambling.
Right. And it's like, dude, you're in, like, this is supposed to be, this is it.
Right. This is the pinnacle. Like, why are you not happy? What's going on? And I think we can get that way quite a bit too. We can get to the place where it's like, I just want to experience things. I mean, I did. I think most people did, particularly when they were in college, where it's like, I want to experience the things. I want to go smoke marijuana and I want to drink alcohol and I want to, sleep around and all of those things to experience that physical pleasure.
And as kids growing up as well in the church, when we first started out the rat share, and you're like 10 and 12 years old.
Yeah, you're like, no, thank you.
No. And everybody pray that prayer. It's like, please God, don't come back until I get married, have a family.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, Lord, come. I want you to come. I want that so much.
But not now.
And I do. I think, like I said earlier, I think it's just a maturity thing. I think you just kind of have to experience a little bit more of life before you go, you know what? I'm actually okay. If I don't end up having kids, I'm okay. I'm really fine. If I'm taken up to heaven or in general, honestly. So, I mean, that's something that's really on our hearts right now. As you guys heard last week, talked a little tiny bit about the infertility that we're experiencing right now. But I know that even if I don't get what I want, if we don't have a child, God is still good. He is still in control, and I'm okay with that. Would I be sad and heartbroken? Yes, absolutely. But I'm mature enough now in my walk with Christ to know that that's not going to shatter my faith.
Now, when you say, "Oh, I'm okay with this," and you there know what might be, it is so hard in the moment.
Absolutely.
To be like, "Oh, God, you're so good. I didn't get what I wanted, but you're so good." A lot of us are like, "God, you're so good. Why? Why?"
Yeah, and honestly, that is a dangerous question. Can be. It's not always dangerous. But it can be, because you can get really stuck in the why, trying to understand God's purpose in that very moment, but it's not from a place of what is God's will. Typically, that question comes from a place of pain and hurt. And that question in that moment really doesn't help. You will find God's purpose as you move forward in your walk. And I think I mentioned this last week. If I didn't, I want to say it again, because I really don't like it when people say, I don't think it's productive when people say, you just need to get over it. Or can I just get over this thing? And it's like, whoa, let's pause. It's much more productive to say, let's work through this. Because getting over it, saying you want to skip the hard part, but the hard part is what is so needed. You need to work through something, whatever it is that you're going through.
Getting over is like you're just hopping over the issue. You're just pushing away, want to forget it, and that doesn't always work out later.
Exactly. Well, and you'll deal with it, but it'll be a way less convenient time because all of this stuff comes back up.
Absolutely. So do you want to deal with it now or later? Now is preferable.
It is. It's much better. I promise. It hurts, but it's better.
And that's kind of one of the issues we come into with one of the characters, just touch on this briefly, which is Danny, who is the kid that ran away from home because his stepmom is having a baby, and he thinks that, the family light now has room for him. So with any kid logic, he just runs away. That's where Sasha, the other dog, comes in and kind of like takes care of them, kind of like guiding him to go back. And then Charlie, once he comes back to Earth, because there's a whole nother premise, which I'll touch on here in just a moment, of why he's come back to Earth. So he's getting some relief from heaven, for a little bit at least. But Danny's character, he's going through the hard time, and there's not real much depth to it, but he's choosing to ignore that problem. Again,
Right.
as we said earlier, just a few minutes ago, by just hopping over it, not dealing with it, not asking his parents. It's like, well, hey, will you still love me even when this baby comes along?
Yeah, he's a poor kid. Honestly, I feel so bad for him. He doesn't know how to deal with it. I mean, like you said, it's kid logic, right? Kid logic is, yeah, you're having another baby, so there's no room for me. You guys won't love me as much because this is the baby that you two will be having together, and I'm just one of your kid. I think it was the dad. Because stepmom. Silly. So, yeah, he's just his dad's kid. He doesn't feel like his stepmom loves him for whatever reason. Who knows? She may not have done a good job to tell him and show him that she loves him, which is so important for kids, particularly if Danny's mom was like no longer in the picture.
Right. Now going to the overall premise of the actual, that's like a subplot. The main plot of this whole movie is Carthays, one of the characters we mentioned before. He's also not fulfilled with the Eternal.
Yeah.
He only see that to the Temporal. We see in the opening scene that he's on the phone with, we don't know who yet, but
It's obviously
it's,
Satan, though, because I mean, there's
but
like this.
the cat form of the scene. Okay, now here's another thing. This seems to be a different heaven, the one for dogs, and there's like a separate one for people.
Oh, I thought you were about to say for cats, and I was like, I'm pretty sure they're trying to insinuate that all cats go to hell.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're saying, which my dad would agree with. He hates cats, which I'm like, okay, cats are not my favorite, but, I'm definitely a dog person, but I don't think they go to hell. Like, come on. They're cute. They're furry. I just don't want to own one.
But we also mentioned about Gabriel's horn. Now, the Gabriel's horn, again, there's hardly very little, if not any type of biblical truth in this, but apparently Gabriel's horn in this dog version of heaven controls the opening of the gate, and without that horn, none of the doggies that have passed on can get through.
Oh no, that's so sad.
And this is the whole issue, the whole problem. This is why Charlie has gone back down with Itchy to get back the horn. That they get sidetracked by, all this temporal stuff. Again, Becca, as you said, the booze, the girls, the gambling, and, getting involved with Danny, trying to help him, and also showing him it's like, hey, we're going to go on Easy Street. You don't need your parents no more.
Yeah, literally called Easy Street.
Yes.
And what was his purpose of doing that? Was it to show him that he needs his parents? It's like, get it out of your system kind of a thing? Is that what Charlie was going for?
I think maybe subconsciously.
I don't know. I know he's a good dog, but I don't know.
Maybe misguided.
I mean, and there's something to be said, I guess, for going out there and trying those things. Sometimes you do have to do that in order to realize how good you have it. That is not the best way to go about it, but I mean, I don't know. Danny was like very headstrong. He was very set on doing his own thing, don't need parents, gonna go out there and live on his own. And maybe that's what Charlie was thinking. I like to think it is.
Perhaps. Now I want to go back to the whole, heaven, temporal versus eternal kind of all overarching, theme of our episode. Now, when we think of heaven, we've seen different depictions. So we have heaven that is, it has a big sign there and the gates, and they even pay tribute to, I think it's like Leonard Skinner or Led Zeppelin with the Stairway to Heaven.
Yes.
Now, one interesting thing about that is St. Peter. We've always seen and heard that St. Peter is he's going to check you in. He's the concierge of heaven.
Which is weird. Where did that even come from? I don't know.
I think that's just like a nice little fluffy thing that they invented.
Yeah, I definitely think it was an invention. I think it was probably from, if I had to guess, it was probably from the Catholic Church. I mean, they were making up all kinds of crazy stuff at one point or another. They were making up that there's a purgatory and you can like pay money to the church to get your relatives out of purgatory.
Right, which is called a pardon. You could purchase
Yes.
a pardon for your family members, and doesn't work that way. I'm sure the church benefited and thrived off of that in the past.
Well, and that was the whole point, is that they were trying to get money from people. What's wild to think about is that the church, they were patrons to many, many, many different artists, like the Sistine Chapel painting. There's a whole bunch of others that like they were the ones that were paying for all of this stuff. So of course they needed more money. I'm pretty sure the Sistine Chapel was being painted at the same time as all of these pardons were being pushed to people that they could pay money to get their family members out of purgatory. Well, this is when in 15 something, I don't remember, Martin Luther, he was in Germany hearing about all of these things, and he was like, whoa, 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 whoa. This is not biblical. Something is wrong here. So he was bumping up against all of that at that time. That was contemporary for him. And so he was saying that that's not right. So that's when he published his 95 thesis on the church door, I think, in, oh my gosh, Wittenberg, Germany, I'm pretty sure is where that was. Yeah, I love learning about the Reformation. It's really, really interesting, the Protestant Reformation.
Yeah, and I learned that in both high school and college. Now, going back to the whole, heaven discussion, with different depictions, do you believe that there is some truth? Because in Scripture it says, no eye has seen, no ear has heard what God has in store for those that love Him, who follow Him. But I think there may be a bit of familiarity with what's depicted in art. When again, I know actually there hadn't been to heaven. Won't go there yet. But Rebecca, do you think that there is a little bit of truth to the art that we see of heaven in different depictions?
You mean art in general, or specifically in All Dogs Go to Heaven too?
Art in general.
So yes, I think there are some things that it does make sense that it does say, like the streets are paved with gold, and the New Jerusalem is going to have like this wall of the 12 different gems and all of that. I think clouds are most often depicted because for whatever reason, I don't really know why this is true, but like we look up to the heavens, right? Probably because that was unknown. A lot of unknown was there. We know a lot more now, but heaven is not in this particular realm. It's like it's a whole different realm altogether. And I mean, there's not too much that we see about heaven. The main things I think that are good to focus, that I know are biblical, are the streets are paved with gold. It's a place where all of our tears will be wiped away and we will feel no pain. There will be no more sin. There will be no more hurt, no more of those things. It's a place where we will worship God in His glory, And there are people who have made the claim that we will continue to work while we're in heaven, work for the kingdom, work for God. And I think that's very possible. There's people who have made the connection of, God is always working. He rested, of course, on that day, so it's good to have rest, but he works. And someone had pointed out at one point that when Jesus came back from the grave and he appeared before Mary, he was in a gardener's outfit. Why was he in a gardener's outfit? Why that specific detail? Is it because he's here to work, to be a gardener, to tend the soil, to do all of those things?
He's getting ready for that great harvest.
Yeah, getting ready for the harvest. So I think we put a very like visual spin on everything, but there's been a lot of liberties taken, I think. Well, like wings. Where did angel wings come from?
Yeah,
the Bible doesn't mention angel wings, right?
It doesn't, but in the depictions that we've seen,
they all have wings.
They all have wings, and that makes us think, oh, well, when we get to heaven, we're going to become an angel. Not true. You get a new glorified body, but you don't become an angel.
Yeah. Okay, so while we're talking about heaven, I'm pretty sure we've seen them before, of like what we think angels look like, which is basically a human with wings, and they have a beautiful gown on and they're glowing and, angelic, pun intended. And then there was an artist who drew a picture of what angels are actually, what they actually look like, depicted in the Bible, and it's freaky.
Yeah, it is freaky. But even the Bible, like if you read like what a description of an angel is, it's not like it's angelic, they're glowing. And in the Bible, when an angel says, "Fear not," you want to fear.
You're fearing, yeah. That's what they look like.
Yeah.
It's unlike anything you've ever seen. And now that I'm thinking about it, though, as far as like specifically what angels look like, I'm pretty sure in Isaiah, when Isaiah goes to the throne room and there's those 4 angels, I think, that are around the throne of God, I think they do have wings. They have 4 wings, either 4 or 6, because there's 2 wings that are, I think, covering their feet, and 2 wings that are covering their eyes, I want to say, and two wings, I don't know, doing something else. Maybe it's just 4. And the wings all have eyes on them. Talking about freaky. So maybe that's where people get the wings from, as far as like depicting
possibly,
angels.
Yeah.
They certainly don't all look like dogs.
No.
Of course, then again, this is dog heaven, and we're talking about people heaven, which, okay, it's not really important, but I'm curious your thoughts. Do you think there will be animals in heaven?
That is a good question. Now, for those of you who have thought, I'll see my sweet little kitty in heaven, I'll see my dog, I don't know. Now, there are some scholars and theologians that have said or have made an indication that there will be. Now, there's said to be another heaven for dogs called Rainbow Ridge. Now, maybe not just for dogs.
Who is this? Just like something that people have made up?
Again, I have found no scriptural evidence of it. It's just something I've heard of. So Rainbow Ridge, again, not just for dogs, but also for the other animals that have passed away. I can't say with 100%, not even like 75% certainty, that there will be pets in heaven. I don't think so. I would like it to be, but I just don't know.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't know. Obviously, I would love that. I don't know. I kind of go back and forth on it. Will it be our specific pets? That's a lot of animals to be in heaven.
Yeah.
I don't think that there will be. I mean, the Bible does say specifically that there will be a new heaven and a new earth at the end of the age, this great age that we're in right now. So perhaps we will, and I think we will be living in the new Jerusalem. Yeah. So maybe there will be animals there. I love animals. So I hope that there will be animals when we get to the afterlife and spend all of eternity. But,
I mean, it's anybody's guess with that one
Yeah,
right now.
honestly. And it's such a secondary thing. Like, it is not a primary thing. It's an interesting thing to talk about, specifically since we're talking about, All Dogs Go to Heaven 2 today. But I don't think it's important. Don't hang your hat on this one. It's an interesting conversation, but like it is not I don't know. What is it? It's not
Pertinent.
well, yeah, but it's not foundational. There we go. That took too long.
And I want to bring up a couple of scriptural references while we're talking about the temporal versus eternal mindset. So the first one comes to us out of Matthew 6:19 to 21. Again, going back to Charlie, he is all about, the earthly stuff and getting his kind of, satisfaction, his fulfillment in the earthly stuff. But as we see in the book of Matthew, do not store for yourselves treasures on earth, where moths and vermin destroy, and where thieves break and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. That's all about storing up treasures in our heart. And what's in our heart? Again, it needs to be kingdom-minded on the eternal. We see this once again in the book of the 2 Corinthians 4 through 16. And I think is that 16 or 18?
It says chapter 4, verse 18.
Okay, yeah, so 4:18. While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen and temporal
Are temporal.
The things seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. There's another verse that says, we see through a glass darkly.
We see through glasses dimly lit.
Yes.
Something like that.
So it gives me the impression that, like, the earth as we see it now is just a slither of the glory to come without all the sin and decay and distraught. Again, vermin and moths, everything's decaying at one point or another.
Yeah, it reminds me of, was it Polar Express where it was like the hobo on the Polar Express was saying, sometimes it's the things that are unseen.
No, it's the conductor. It was the conductor.
Conductor who said, sometimes the things that we can't see are the most real things out there. And it just makes me think of this.
Absolutely. And reading all this and doing this discussion, I mean, it gets you a little bit excited about heaven.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a place where there's no more pain. There's no more struggling with sin. Oh my goodness. How frustrating is it? I am frustrated. I don't know about you, Josh, but I'm frustrated with struggling with sin. Like, can we just be over this? That would be great. Thank you.
I mean, while we're on this earth, we're always going to, struggle with taxes. It's like the old saying go. I would add to it, it's like, I can only guarantee you 2 things. Well, really 3 things. While you're living on this earth, you're going to die, you're going to pay taxes, and you're also going to struggle with sin.
Yes, most people only ever talk about 2 things, but throwing in that third one is very true. It's like the Reliant K song.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Death and Taxes.
Death and Taxes.
Which is a great song if you haven't heard of,
It's an old one, but it's good. Well, Reliant K is great. I love Reliant K.
And there's so much that we could go on with saying about heaven. We may do a bonus episode about it because there's all these other different things that depict heaven. Coco, one example, they don't depict heaven, but they depict an afterlife, which is very interesting. Again, Hercules, we did our thing on that. We didn't focus too much on like Mount Olympus, but in Greek mythology, that was like...
Did we talk about Hercules?
We did. It was on another topic.
Oh, okay. I was like, I do not remember doing Hercules as a podcast episode.
It was a while back, but yeah, we didn't focus on like, this topic, but Mount Olympus, that is heaven. And there's been other countless animations that, depict heaven, lessons like. We watched an anime and I actually finished it, which may be a discussion for another podcast. But there was a anime called Platinum End. And this is about, God candidates and finding the nets of God, which was a very interesting concept.
Man, it was weird.
It was.
It was hard to sit through, honestly. Josh, you kept wanting to watch it, and I was like,
Yeah, and
I guess I'll sit through this. It's hard.
I will say, for those of you who've seen it, and I think you can agree, the ending, I didn't know how else it could have ended, but it just wasn't. I didn't like the ending personally.
Did I watch the ending?
No,
I didn't.
no. You may not want to anyway.
It was hard. It was hard to watch.
It was very. Yeah, give me Buddy Daddies any day.
Oh gosh, yes. I'm excited to start that at some point.
We're gonna bring it back. We're gonna bring it back this episode. It is time for What Are We Watching?
Oh yay! This is what we're watching this week.
Yes, we're back with What Are We Watching? We didn't do this for a good few episodes just because we had a lot of things going on. We were watching mainly Christmas things, and even in November. And I said, yeah, we're gonna bring it back. And we used to do it the first of the month. I think doing like the middle of the month or something like that. Again, still working on the whole type of.
I think every couple of months, honestly, would be better.
Yeah, every couple of months. So, again, February, here's what we're watching in February, and then we'll follow up with you guys in April. So every other month, we'll do a What Are We Watching? Because at that point, we'll start a new series, watch a few new movies, listen to a few new audiobooks, where Rebecca's concerned. So, Rebecca, we'll start with you. What have you been watching, listening to, reading?
Well, as far as reading, not very much, mostly because we've started a new budget thing where we're trying to actually like watch what we're spending. And so I've got a subscription to Audible, but I only get 1 credit. And in January, I blew through that in like 5 days. So that was that. So for the past several weeks, I've been chomping at the bit going, I need another credit. So anyway, but I did read M.H. Elrick's book, first book in her series, and I'm super excited. I just got my my credit for the month to listen to the second one. The first one's called Etanya's Worth, and the second one is called Etanya's Calling. And so I am really excited to get to see the next installment, to read that. And then as far as watching, apart from Josh, I have been neck deep in Naruto. It's like every night I think I've watched one or two, well, more like 2 or 3 episodes a night. And I have been plowing through Naruto recently. I finally made it through all 9 seasons, watching every single episode, mind you.
What a feature.
Yeah, every single episode of Naruto, the original series where they're like kids. I think they're supposed to be like 12 or 13. And I think when Naruto Shippuden, it comes on, which is where I am now, I think they're more like 15 or 16, which makes a lot more sense. So that is what I have been doing. I've been watching Naruto.
And as for me, I always like, books on like cults and secret societies. So there was one book that I'm listening to on Audible. It's like my last credit, before I like cancel the subscription for myself. It's I can't remember. It's like The Woman Who Wore Red or Spoke Red or something like that. And it's all about the FDLS. I'm trying to remember. It's some evangelical subsect that was like, the cult and everything. So that's all I've been, technically reading, listening to. So it's been an interesting book so far. Regarding like watching, we're watching a couple things together. I'm watching the newest season of Tokyo Revengers.
So good.
Which has been good.
Well, and speaking of cult stuff, we watched
the WeWork documentary on Hulu.
That was interesting.
Yeah, so we switched over from Netflix to Hulu now because there were like some stuff that we wanted to watch. But we didn't necessarily want to have 2 things going at the same time, especially when we weren't using Netflix a lot. Well, Becca, you were using it for Naruto.
Yes.
But now we switched over because they had Shippuden dub on Hulu. And they actually had a lot of dubbed anime on Hulu. I was very surprised. We finished the first season of Spy Family dub. So good. I have been watching Buddy Daddies, which is like a different type of Spy Family. It's still got that cutesy feel. Still very comedic. Got a lot of action. Other than that, I've been watching a title that is kind of long, but I'll try to remember from memory what it is. It's called I Need to Save 80,000 Gold for My Retirement in Another World. So it's another isekai. I want to watch the Isekai Quartet movie.
Yeah, same.
So that's only subbed, but it looks really good. We saw this, I didn't get a chance to see it in theaters, but it is on Crunchyroll now. Other than that, I haven't been watching too much else. Oh, I have been rewatching on my own My Love Story, the dub on Hulu.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
I really liked that one a lot.
Good. It's right up there with Toradora, in my opinion. But My Love Story, you cannot get much more wholesome than that. I think it's
Honestly.
one of the cleanest anime you could probably get. But yeah, a lot of the other good anime that's coming out. I know that Demon Slayer, they're making a few announcements about that for the next season that's coming up about that.
When is that coming back on?
I don't think until spring sometime or summer.
Spring would be great.
My Hero Academia, we're getting
So
through
good.
season 6. And
So many surprising things.
Yes.
My
No,
gosh.
no spoilers, but a lot of surprising new details is what I'll say.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of what we've been doing so far. And if any of you are gaming or have any game suggestions, or if you are watching what we're watching currently, what are your favorite episodes, or what are you currently watching that you would like to maybe suggest to us? Leave down in the comments, send us an email. At the time of this episode, our website has relaunched. It is totally new design, and we're really excited about that. It's got our new characters and everything that we shared back in December. So go to analuya.com, see the blog, learn a little bit more about us, and also you can contact us there as well directly. But with all that, keep those halos shiny and stay holy, my friends.
Bye, guys. Have a good week. Thank you for listening to the Analuya podcast. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can also see more on our website at analuya.com. Thanks for listening.